It is a good day to be alive. It is a good day to do this. If you wake up in the morning and you're alive, okay, of course you can't wake up dead. I know that some people normally say, oh, he woke up dead. See, if you wake up and there's life in you, your eyes can see, your ears can hear, you can go to work, you can go to school. I mean, there's food on your table and so on and so forth. Thank God for that. And even if you're waking up this morning and things are haywire, things are like, you don't know where you're going to get the money from. You don't know where you're going to get you're talking about rent. I'm talking about food for today, for breakfast. I don't have my wife, my kids, and so on. If you're waking up and that's what is going on in your life, let me tell you something. It's not the end of the world. I know it's easy for me to say that, but it's not the end of the world. I guarantee you that you can come out of that particular place. You're going to look back and you can remember that you were in a tough moment, but you came out. And if you did come out, then you are a great soul. I want to tell you that you're a great soul. You are here and you're needed in this world, and you're going to pull through. Probably call someone, find some kind of help, whatever it is that you can be able to do. But make sure you're moving. Don't do nothing. Move. Do something towards this. You don't know what's going to happen. Anyway, we are in the middle of a series in these episodes. We're talking about reputation. This podcast is always about purpose, productivity, and resilience. And we're talking about how you can disfigure your reputation, 7 ways you can disfigure your reputation. I'm telling you that stuff so that you can be able to know what to do not to disfigure your reputation. Today, let us look at the 4th way you can do that. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
By now, I am sure you already know that a reputation is not something that comes easy. It's not something that comes automatic even. Some people spend top dollar to build genuine reputation. Some people spend top dollar to protect their already existing reputations. But you see, sometimes kikulacho kinguoni mwako. That means that whatever messes you up is within your cloth. What bites you, the Swahili say, is what's within your cloth. In other words, you can have an internal destruction, self-destruct. And you can mess up your reputation all by yourself. There's a movie, I think, by Tyler Perry, with the title, a very long title, I Can Do Bad All By Myself. It is very true. I remember one of the most iconic messages that T.D. Jakes ever preached. It's like 20 years old message. And in that message, he said that I can do bad all by myself. Even if you looked at me carefully, I have a potential to be a homosexual. And then he said, oh my God. Anyway, listen, there are some things we can do ourselves without the help of somebody else. We say that there are 2 ways you can mess up your reputation. 2 ways your reputation can be messed up. Number 1, by somebody else, by a hater. But that's easy to resolve, especially if your reputation is good. It's a little bit easy to resolve. Why? Because you go to court, they'll got to prove their case. And if they don't prove their case, guess what? The court will pronounce that your reputation is intact, and then you'll be paid some top dollar. Okay, for that. And I've seen that happening, not just in the United States of America. I've seen that happening in Kenya also. There's a guy called Nicholas Biwott. He's dead now. And he had been infamously linked to the murder of a foreign affairs cabinet minister. John Robert Ouko some years back when I was still in primary school, and it's like it was common knowledge that he orchestrated the murder of this guy. And then someone, I think, wrote in the book that all these things that he was involved, he took them to court. Nicholas Biwo took them to court, and I think he was paid 20 million Kenya shillings for that. And I don't know if his name remained intact, his reputation remained intact. But that's easy to resolve. You can always go to your hater and you can always table evidence against what your hater is saying. But what you do yourself is on another level. The first thing that we talked about is that if you wanted to disfigure your reputation is veer off your values. We know you stand for this, but then your actions speak totally different from what you're doing. I mean, we think, are you schizophrenic or something like that? Your reputation goes down the drain. Secondly, you make promises that you are not going to fulfill. Even if you are going to fulfill, sometimes we live in a black fallen world and things do happen. And when things do happen, we anticipate that we're not going to fulfill the promise that we made. What do? What are we supposed to do? We are supposed to stand up and say, way before time, I'm not so sure I'm going to fulfill this promise. But if you make a promise and you don't keep that promise, your reputation, it goes. 3, we said this yesterday. You know for sure, we know, and you know, that you have a capacity to do X, Y, and Z. But you're not doing it. You're not fulfilling your capacity. You're not fulfilling your potential. It is known that you are able to do it, but you are not. Your reputation also goes. Today, let us look at one more thing that you can be able to do to disfigure your reputation. And it's something that I call a compromise on your standards. A compromise on your standards. We talked about this as far as Apple is concerned. We're talking about values. Apple has a standard for excellence. They sell excellence more than they sell their gadgets. Or they sell their gadgets because they sell excellence. The day Apple decides just to sell gadgets and not excellence, that's the day their reputation goes south. And that's the day they fail to become a $1 trillion company. A friend of mine took me out to Cafe Javas in Kampala some time back. And I remarked that the place was minting money because they nearly, when you're there, every seat in that restaurant is fully booked. Sometimes on special days, you cannot get a seat. You've got to wait. There's a waiting area. And sometimes even the waiting area is full. And people are willing to wait to sit in the waiting area. So a quick observation showed me that as much as the place was teeming up with people, each person was given attention within seconds on arrival. That is a high standard. I also observed, and I told later on, I told my wife, that if you go to that particular restaurant, you will notice that when they bring ketchup on the table, it is always on a new bottle and is always full. It's like they're opening it for you for the first time. If you go to another restaurant, you know what happens? They bring you ketchup that has been held with very many people and it's like quarter way through. And there is ketchup, it's covered with ketchup, spills of ketchup on the bottle rolling down. Now those are their standards. But the standards of Cafe Javas are totally different. Teaming up with people, given attention at every moment and given excellent service. And then, by the way, you keep being bombarded with, even the chef himself comes. If at all you make a negative feedback about any one of their meals and so on, they are all concerned up to the top management. They will come to your table. All of them. My goodness. Now that's standards. See, there are no complaints from customers. Of course, the customers will always complain, but not to the degree. Meanwhile, my friend narrated to me how they could not eat a food item that they had ordered previously from this particular restaurant. They were bombarded with 7 managers from the restaurant who needed to inquire. They needed to find out why. What is the problem? I mean, is it the flavor? What have we done wrong? Managers at this restaurant. Needless to say, Cafe Jervis has set a standard of service of delivery that is what we call OK plus one. In other words, what we expect and then some. So now, what will happen if you go there one day? One day you go there and you're treated worse than you were when you were there before. What's gonna happen? They will have lowered their standard, and it will definitely be because they have compromised on what we have known them for. Right then and there, unless they shift, they move with speed. Right then and there, I will feel bad about it, I will vent and I will rant about it, and I will tell as many people that are in my circles as possible about this bad experience. Why? Because I'm expecting a different standard and I'm getting a lower one. They set the standard. Listen, something about standards is that you are the one who set. It's not us. You see, people even go to those restaurants that I have just described where the ketchup is oozing out of the bottle and it's going down, it's dirty, the bottle is dirty. People go there. And it's okay because that's the standard they have kept. But if you go to a particular place where the standard is this, you are going there first of all not to eat the meal. Not just to eat the meal. You're going there, especially if you're going there with your loved one, you're going there to experience, to have an experience. Experiences are not about the meal. Experiences are about the standards. And it's not just restaurants, my friend. It's about all of us and whatever it is that we do. We set standards. And so we go expecting to leverage on those standards, not even to leverage, expecting to experience those standards, to have an experience. That's what we're going to do. The reputation of someone or something is always soiled when their standards are dropped a notch lower. Now listen to this. Good standards can be a trap. It is easy to lower your standards, especially when your high standards are working and giving you traffic. It is very easy. Very easy to take it for granted. It is easy to get disillusioned that the traffic will always be there. In fact, it's easy to get overwhelmed with the traffic that you got this traffic because of the standards. You can easily get overwhelmed and you start overlooking your standards. What happens? People slowly get disgruntled because your standards were lowered, even unbeknown to you, and your reputation is now at stake. Anytime that happens, there's a problem. By the time that you've compromised your standards, you won't even notice. At first, your clientele might, quote unquote, understand, knowing that it is something that you can easily rectify. However, before you know it, your standards are even lower, unless you address it. Anytime you allow something, you accept it, and it becomes your new standard. Oh, we lowered our standard yesterday, and we are still seeing people. See, those people you are seeing are not there because of your new lowered standards. They are there because of your past high standards. That's the goodwill. It's the goodwill that is bringing them there, not your new lowered standards. Now they are going to experience your new lowered standards, expecting that you will rectify them. Meanwhile, those ones who are coming and experiencing new lower standards will go elsewhere, and that's how you, self-destruct. A few years later, when you visit the same place where it was teeming with people, a booming business, you find a handful of customers. It's just a shell. Now people with laptops are there working away, and they're just taking a soda or water. What happened? A reputation. Your standards were lowered, and then your reputation went south. So what are we saying? Make sure you don't compromise. Once you've set your standards, the only way with standards is up. That's it. It cannot be low. It cannot go down. Once the standard has been set, it must continue. It must either be maintained, which is a hard thing to do, or it has always been to be refreshed and made better. Refreshed and made better. We are addicts to good experiences as humans. We are always on the lookout for these good standards. And that is where our reputation comes from. So, if anything, you ought to improve on these standards. In fact, improving on these standards is just as critical as not compromising on them. Otherwise, your reputation will be tainted. We will carry out, and try to, ride the tide. But unless you rectify it, it's gone. Like, seriously gone. Well, tomorrow we're going to continue talking about these aspects of reputation. What makes you lose your reputation? Until then, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.